For more than a decade, she has helped viewers who were wronged. She often exposes scams and loopholes that's in the fine print. And at the end of her pieces, she provides sound advice for all of her consumers. Ashley is an award-winning journalist. She has 4 regional Emmy awards.
I gotta tell you, this kind of feels like I'm coming home because I went to Hillcrest High School, grew up off Highway H, worked for Dr. Reed at the Animal Health Center. I'm seeing some head nods. He was my first boss. Forget KY3, it was Dr. Reed. He hired me when I was 14. I wanted to get a car, and my mom said, well, go work. So I did. I got like I think it was a 92 Camry was my first car. All right, so my name is Ashley Reynolds with KY3. I do the On Your Side segment, as it was mentioned. Next month marks 17 years with Gray Media. Is that not crazy? Do any of you recognize the name Michelle Davidson? That is who I interned under when I was in high school. I was an intern for KY3 back when they let high schoolers intern. So that is when I first got to experience consumer reporting. Consumer reporting means I am not in front of a house fire, and I'm not in front of police tape, and I'm not outside telling you how cold it is. I cover stories about your wallet, your health, and your safety. So many things fit in those categories. Anything from a car seat recall to a botched hatchery that's not built yet. Anyone see that report a few days ago? So we cover a wide range of things. So this is the scam school presentation I'm going to give you. I'm clicking it. It's not appearing. But so I like to give this presentation out in the community to churches, civic groups, anyone who will listen to me. So this is what you're getting today. And I like to make sure that you are aware of scams happening around the Ozarks. So yes, thank you. Someone's already read it. A viewer sent this to me years ago, and I thought it was hilarious. So that's how I like to start the presentation. There are so many scams on the internet nowadays, send me 1995, and I'll tell you how to avoid them. No problem. So it's still not working. You want to just be my clicker? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so first I want to make sure you are aware of the top 3 scams. Chances are you've probably heard of these, but I just want to make sure. So number 1, go ahead and click it, is the IRS scam. This is when someone calls posing as the IRS saying you goofed on your taxes, okay? Most of you are not going to talk to them or hang up. So how do they get a person to fall for this, right? Well, about 10 years ago, I interviewed a woman who filed her own taxes for the first time. So she genuinely thought she goofed, and she sent them $2,000 to correct it, and she was going to get married next month and did not have the money for the wedding. That's how they find you, right? They make 100 phone calls a day, and if they get 2 people, it's a good day for a scammer. Okay, so that's why it's so important for this segment for On Your Side to get the word out. Number 2, tech support. How many of you received this call? They pose as Apple, Dell, or Windows saying we've detected a problem on your computer. We'll tell you how to fix it. Just download this link, things like that, right? And then 3, the publisher's clearinghouse scam. I know when you hear this, you might even like twitch because it sounds like who on earth would fall for that? Well, it wasn't that long ago, I interviewed a man from Ozark who recently put his wife on hospice. And he got this phone call. And he didn't just get the phone call once. They kept calling and they kept calling and they kept calling. And then he received a packet in the mail explaining that he had to fill this out and pay for the taxes up front. So he was getting bombarded with phone calls, and he got a packet in the mail, and eventually he sent them a few $1,000s. That's how it happens. Sometimes it's not the first phone call, sometimes it's not the second, sometimes it's the 10th. Okay, go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, grandparents scam. By the way, this is my real dad, David Reynolds. My dad is not Ned. But I don't correct them because they're disappointed when they find out that I'm not related. So anyway, that is my dad, David Reynolds. That is my brother, Matt Reynolds, who used to work at Highland. So thank you. And then my sister, Madison Reynolds. She's a principal at Fair Grove. And that is my granddad, Harold Reynolds, the Marine, who just celebrated his 93rd birthday. And that's Mary Jo Reynolds. And they live, don't want to tell you exactly, but on the north side of town. So, Yeah, we are a Springfield family for sure. Okay, so the grandparent scam, oh, that's fine. Grandparent scam is when those over 65 get a phone call in the middle of the night and the scammer is interpreting or pretending to be their grandchild, and it often starts with, "I'm in trouble." And what they say is that they're in jail, and this is the one phone call they get. This phone call often happens in the middle of the night when the person is not thinking clearly. And they'll do things like, "This is your grandchild." And then the grandparent will say, "Kevin?" "Yes, it's Kevin." See how that goes? Yeah. So that's how that happens. Okay, and the next one, the Social Security phone scam. Now this one's interesting. In fact, we covered this one pretty recently on KY3. This is when they say that your Social Security number has been stolen or compromised. By the way, what is your Social Security number? That's all that they're doing. But when you start talking to someone who receives Social Security payments, it can be pretty scary. And we interviewed a person, the latest twist to this one. She received the phone call, and the scammer said, this is in regard to the letter you received in the fall about, what is it called? The cost adjustment. Because those on Social Security just got a bump. So the scammer used a headline to their advantage to fool the person. So the scammer was like, "Oh yeah, this is about that. You didn't fill out the rest of the information. I can do it on the phone right now for you." And that's how they get them. Okay, let's go to the next one. I'd like to talk about this one, but sometimes it doesn't impact a lot. Any renters in the room or know someone who rents? Okay? Okay, we'll be brief on this one. This is when scammers take legit for sale listings. So they'll steal the descriptions and photos off Zillow and then head over to Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and create a bogus for rent listing. Okay? And they'll often use a lowball rent price to reel in someone that thinks it's a great deal. And this is an example of that. You can see it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Republic for $700 a month. And so often then this scammer will receive an email from someone who wants to rent, a possible tenant. And the scammer will say, "Here's our application form, fill it out." So then they get a copy of their driver's license, they get their Social Security number, and oh, by the way, go ahead and just send us your deposit and we'll lock you in. Ugh, I hate that one. And it happens all the time. And I often find out too, you can go ahead and switch it, that scams are cyclical. This happens a lot in the spring when people start moving. How many of you know what caller ID spoofing is? Yeah. This is when scammers make your caller ID display whatever they want it to. I don't know if you can see that well, but this one on the left says City of Nixa, and that is the correct number for the utility. A restaurant during lunchtime received that phone call. It was Patrick's. They used to be opened by Walmart down in Nixa. And the scammer was posing as the power company saying, "Hey, you haven't paid your bill, and you need to pay it right now or we're going to turn off the power." And the scammer even did a little homework and said the right superintendent's name when they called. Google will tell you that, but scammers will take some time to figure that out to sound more convincing. Fortunately, she caught on when she was asked to go buy green dot cards. So she caught on to the scam. The other one is the Lowe's. That's what the ID displayed, and they were told there's a problem with your store card. A woman in Branson received this call, and at the time we did the story, the Branson store's number is 1096. So again, scammers did their homework a little bit. You can go ahead and go to the next one. From where you're sitting, does that cash look real? I bought $2,000 on Amazon for $20.
Oh my God.
I did it. Okay, I love to warn people about this during garage sale season. So let's imagine I'm hosting a garage sale. You want to buy my couch, okay? My couch is $20.
I'll give you 15.
No. You give me 10 or 15 and you don't have change. Do you see what just happened there? So not only is he getting my couch for free, I'm paying him to take it, right? This happens all the time, and not just at garage sales. Often with those online transactions, when you meet someone for a Facebook Marketplace thing, check the cash for sure. And there are different ways to check, but really the dead giveaway, if you can see it, it says movie money on it, but you have to look for it. That says motion picture only. So you just have to look hard for it, but it's there. Those counterfeit detection pins are not 100% great, but it's better to have them than not if you're hosting a garage sale. So go ahead and go to the next one. Let's just skip that one. Okay, this was fun. You can like pass anything, a course online, just letting you know. This was my dog Chase at the time. We were trying to prove that, if you want your dog to be a service dog, it can. Chase can't set on command. But for $200, I got him a little license placard that says he's a service dog. So we also did this experiment with, I took a conceal and carry class, and I got a certificate out of Utah without touching a gun. So go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, I always like to go over this. How many of you guys throughout the years have watched a KY3 scam story, and there's someone on TV who fell for it, crying, and you think, what an idiot. Yeah. Here's how it happens. This is why people fall for scams. Because crooks find what I like to call your Achilles heel. They find something in you that grabs you. For me, especially before having my daughter, I'm an animal lover, for sure. I had this revelation literally like when I took over the segment, like 2011. I interviewed this woman who was about to have back surgery. So she was going to be in recovery for a couple weeks, and she wanted a companion. So she was looking specifically for a small dog that she could carry because she was about to have surgery. So she found an ad, I think it was Backpages at the time. Like, it's been a while. Does that sound right? For a Yorkie. And she thought she was paying $1,000 for the Yorkie. She sent her deposit. She was getting photos and updates about the Yorkie. They were sending her, your dog got this vaccination today, and it'll be shipped to your house on this day. Well, every few days, there was a problem. The dog needed another vaccination. The dog got sick. Then there was another crate fee at the airport, and she kept sending money. And then the day came for the dog to be on her doorstep. That's how scammers get you. They find something in you, just like that man from Ozark who lost thousands of dollars in the Publishers Clearinghouse. He just put his wife on hospice. He thought maybe today's my day. That's how they get you. They find that connection. You can go to the next one. And I like to remind people, winners do not pay processing fees. You should never have to pay to win. We cover this one all the time. People think that if they pay a little, then they're going to get a lot in return. You don't win grants, you qualify for grants. This happens on Facebook all the time with elderly who think that they came across some Social Security benefit when in return the person just wants to steal their money and identity. So, and then also, did you enter the prize? That's important too. So I can skip to the next one. Let me see what time we are. Okay, so you want to be your own advocate. I thought she was hilarious. I know, I just think she's so funny. So you want to be your own advocate. You want to shred everything that's important to you. And it's amazing what your name and information gets on nowadays. Like one of my dogs, I used to have like this, one of those prescriptions, like the kit for every day. He had pills laid out. Well, his prescription bottles had my name and address on it. Just things like that you often don't think of. How many of you have your credit frozen? As we like to say, if you're happy with your house and your spouse, then freeze your credit. If you don't anticipate needing to take out a loan anytime soon, it's best to freeze your credit. Credit monitoring is fine, but that's after the fact. If you freeze your credit, it creates like a shield, and then that line of credit the scammer can't get to. Whereas credit monitoring is going to tell you, oh, do you recognize this? This just happened. Is this you? So be proactive about it. And then I think it's important to monitor your kids' credit as well. This is a touchy subject, but sometimes we see this in divorce situations or just when there's family problems. A parent might take a child's social security number and open a line of credit with it, get a credit card, things like that. And then that child does not know that happened until they go to buy a phone or a car. Okay. We love seeing this. This is great. This has happened like within the last 5 years. You see these signs at Walmart, Come and Go, Walgreens. So many businesses are starting to train their employees to ask questions when someone buys a gift card. Do you know this person? Where's that money going? It's okay to be a little nosy, and it's just refreshing to see those signs. Okay, this is the last slide, and then I want to mention a few other things, and if you have questions, I certainly want to take them. I heard one nonprofit. Any other nonprofits? Okay, yes. So I always like to do, we typically do this the week leading up to Giving Tuesday, how to check a charity. This is so critical to know where your money is going and the percentage of, how many cents on the dollar goes to the actual cause. So I like to use websites like Charity Navigator, give.org, where they take those IRS documents and then they go over how well the charity has spent donor dollars. So this was a while ago in 2013. A woman, she lived up by the Lake of the Ozarks. She's a widow and her husband served, and she received a brochure from the National Vietnam Veterans Foundation. I plugged in that name to Charity Navigator, and it told me in 2013, only 11% of the nearly $5 million raised went to the cause. Now, there are a lot of charities, too, that might not be big enough, or maybe they're new, a year to 3 years. Just because you plug them in on Charity Navigator and you don't find them doesn't mean you still can't retain the information. Sometimes it's on a charity's website, things like that. It should be easy to find out, is my point. But Charity Navigator is one of my favorite websites. So, okay, I wanted to just finish up by saying a few things. So when you watch on your side, and if you have any local news questions, I'll do my best to answer them. But on your side basically operates like a machine, and all the stories you see on your side typically come from viewers like you. We receive about 100 tips a week, and that's through email, that's through our hotline, that's through our Facebook messaging, you name it. And then I go through all of them and try to find the best consumer stories on what we can all learn, what is going to mean the most to people. And then I set up interviews with those people. Often, in order to do a story about a business, people will often ask me, would you do a story based on one complaint? The answer is probably not. We have to have several customers telling us the same thing. And that's why when you see those stories, you will see multiple faces, multiple customers saying the same thing. So we'll go out, shoot the story, I write it, And if it's an investigation, if you see something that's labeled an on your side investigation, know that there's some sweat behind it and elbow grease. It took me a few weeks, sometimes even a few months to put together. The one on whatever the hatchery night was that Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. It was a 6-minute piece. We started working on that maybe a month ago. So, but keeping that in mind, I have to feed the beast every day. So every night at 5 and 6, you're going to see a news story. And then we also have digital content, what we like to call our digital desk. And that's a really cool space where, you know, I only get a few minutes a night on a newscast, but our digital platform, I can talk about something for 20 minutes. So it's a neat avenue where things are really going. So I write the stories. If it's an investigation, sometimes an attorney will review that script. And then I edit the pieces too. And when I say edit, I'm physically sitting in front of a computer for sometimes several hours, because a lot of my pieces, you'll see documents, because if I'm telling you something, I want you to see it. And if I'm pulling words from a document and reading it, I want to keep your attention and show those letters. So sometimes my segments will have 8 to 10 layers of video. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's a lot. But, and then I got to do it all again tomorrow, the next day. So I don't know what time it is, but I will take any questions you got. Okay. Oh, come on, guys. Yes?
So I'm going to kind of read into what you've been talking about the whole time, being a banker forever and ever and ever. There's a lot of bankers in this room. So this week alone, I personally got an email from Josh Sharon 64878 at iCloud that he detected some problems in my Apple Store account.
Yes. Yes.
I showed it to him right when you said that. There's the email right there. Happened Monday. So yesterday, as sophisticated as it's getting with the AI platform, if you own a business, most banks anyway, somebody makes the request and then we call back to somebody else to verify everything else. We had a chat bot called customer. So it's even sophisticated enough to where a bot called, like the call we would make to the customer, the bot called.
Wow.
Yeah, so the only thing that messed it up was there was some, I know I wasn't involved in it, but there was some numbers tweaked or something like that that made it wrong. But it was a bot that called back down. And then the romance scam.
Oh, jeez.
Today's Thursday, right? So Tuesday, I think it was, and I wasn't involved in it, but it was a retail type thing. But a $5,000 check was sent to this gentleman from somebody that he's been online talking back and forth with for a year. And of course, the theory is they cash the check, right? And the bank pays it, and then sends money back to him. That all happened this week. And the location.
Just in 1 week.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago. I interviewed a woman in Sarcoxie who believed she was talking with Gordon Ramsay, that chef. And it was wild because even in the interview, she still wanted to believe it. Like she was really struggling. Like she knew it wasn't real, but she wanted to believe so bad. I mean, and then, you know, when you're talking to him for weeks on end, I mean, it was wild. But eventually she got to a point where, why is a millionaire asking me for money when I live in a trailer in Sarcoxie? I mean, that's what it boiled down to.
With all the bankers in this room, I mean, we consider paying.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was just, again, this week, so I just wanted to
Yes.
validate the importance of what you're talking about
Yeah.
to protect yourself.
Yes. But I think one of the struggles we deal with the most is getting someone who has been through a situation like that to talk on camera, because all too often they do feel embarrassed. But I think what it really boils down to, I can talk them through it, and I think they get that they have the chance to help someone else, because they're never going to get their money back. But if they can try to prevent this from happening again, they're going to do it. And I think that's why On Your Side is so successful, because you see a lot of the times real people with real life experiences who live in your backyard telling you something. So at least that's what we try to do.
I will disclaim that no money was lost.
Yes. Excellent. Yep. Yep.
Question. So my father was recently a victim to the Bitcoin scam. Lives on Social Security alone, and that's it. Your presentation is awesome. Is there a way I can
I could email it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be awesome because it encompasses so much and he just doesn't get it. He needs help.
Oh, is he older?
He is 65 and fully retired. So.
I remember interviewing one woman. She lived close to Eldon, and she was instructed to run up to a gas station on one of those Bitcoin machines, and she sent him like $8,000. And it just, it's awful.
Sad.
And she lives alone and just got convinced that, so. Oh,
So what do they do to try to track these people down and make them pay severely?
right. Well, I mean, are you talking about what do?
Like what, is there a way to find these organizations, shut them down? You know, what's being done on that side of things?
Yeah, I think it depends on who you talk to and also who is in office, who is dedicating time and resources to find these bad guys. All too often, they're just physically not here in the Ozarks. They're in a different country, which makes it even harder. But there have been people that have, I'm trying to think of who it was. I want to say I interviewed Eric Schmidt when he was the AG office, and he was part of other AGs who went to a different country in Africa, and they will bust these places because they're like call centers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it just really depends on who's going to dedicate the time and resources to it. And that can be such a fluid situation. So then it's on our part to be proactive and educate ourselves about these scams. So, yep.
The scams are always changing. I mean, I assume, right? They keep changing them. So what, do you have like go-to tips that we can tell maybe our parents or
Yep.
grandparents?
Specifically when it comes to that, I mean, I would get nosy and be on their accounts at a certain point so you can see where the money's going. I've done some really cool stories when the elder mom was about to send thousands of dollars, but the banker noticed the daughter and son were on the account and they called them to say, does this sound right to you? Yeah. I mean, she could have lost thousands of dollars. So I think that's always wise. I think it's cool to just be nosy to a certain point. And I mean, you judge that age when that happens. And then the biggest thing, honestly, is to take a minute and breathe and think through things, because all too often it doesn't make sense. And those scammers are scripted and they're rehearsed and they're trying to make you act fast, all before you realize it's a scam. So I think just talking about it, taking a breath, and realizing it doesn't make sense. So, yep.
So part of what I do is help local businesses with like their online presence. And so just recently this week, I work with Ozark Mountain Popcorn and we were doing a giveaway. So those fake Facebook pages were popping up that said, claim your prize, you won. And so they steal like the logo and it looks like a legit page when you first pop up. It's labeled Ozark Mountain Popcorn, so they message these people. I don't know the best way to go about like telling people that's not the right account, other than like I was taking screenshots saying, hey, don't trust it, whatever. Is there any other way to like keep that from happening so you don't have the wrong person thinking that they won, they click on a link and suddenly they think either Ozark Mountain Popcorn has stolen all their, information or whatever. Like,
Right.
I don't know the best way to go about doing that.
Ugh, I hate it from your perspective because on our end, we tell people to check the account. We've done multiple stories of silly fundraisers that ended up just a scammer was piggybacking off of a legit one. So people need to verify the account. All too often, the scammer will only have a photo or two because it's a bot new account. But when it comes to you guys, I mean, I would explore things like making a pinned post describing keys to look for. If you have that blue check mark, you would never ask a customer to send money, right? So like just red flags, making just a simple, and I would do like an image with graphics with it, so it's not just a plain text post. I'd make it eye-catching, but yep.
What should people do if they do do get scammed.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. And that's like one of my taglines. I say, if you come across a scam, report it to the Better Business Bureau, Attorney General, and tell on your side too. So yeah, that's it. I think it's really important to report these things. I mean, I hear you when someone says the BBB doesn't have any power, right? Because the AG they can file a civil lawsuit or a criminal lawsuit. But what the BBB can do too, and you can copy and paste the same complaint, at least it gets published on their website, so when someone else looks up the company or something like that, they'll see your complaint. So I think it's important to take all avenues. And it depends on what it is too. Like if it's through, sorry, I know there are bankers. If it's a bank thing, you know, different places are regulated by different things. So maybe it's an FDIC thing. I'm doing a story tonight on prepaid funeral plans. And so who you would complain to about that is the director of Missouri Embalmers and Funeral Directors. So there's an association. There's a state. All too often there's a group that will regulate the place, and you can file a complaint with them. What is it? Missouri Professional Registrations would be who you go through for counselors, things like that. So where there's a will, there's a way to file a complaint. And I think it's important to document that, because then other people see you've had a problem, and perhaps that'll get the business's attention to see a formal complaint, because a good business doesn't want a complaint on their record, so they're going to take care of it. Yep.
Back in the day with the toner scams of offices.
Oh, jeez.
Very common.
Yes.
One of the bigger call centers here in town, 'cause I was in the coffee room back then, was over on Springfield, so I knew Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah, I remember doing that scam to, oh, jeez. There was someplace on Kearney. I did that. Was it you? I don't know. Oh, gee. Oh, that's awful. Oh, man. Well, guys, thank you. If you have any story tips, please email us, OYS, that's on your side, OYS@ky3.com. And thank you so much for watching and just being involved with spreading consumer news.